There's a strange feeling a lot of people have right now. It's not anxiety, not burnout, not depression either. It's quieter than that. You wake up, you scroll a little, you move through your day, you get things done. But somewhere underneath, your mind feels crowded. Not loud, not chaotic, just full. And the scary part is, nothing bad seems to be happening. So you tell yourself you're fine. But this feeling isn't caused by laziness. It isn't a motivation problem. The real cause is quieter than that, and most people completely miss it. Let me describe it more clearly. Your brain feels tired, but not from thinking too much. You struggle to focus, but you're not distracted by anything specific. You want silence, but when you finally get it, it feels uncomfortable. So you reach for your phone again. Not because you want entertainment, but because your mind doesn't feel settled without input. That's important. Nothing dramatic is happening. That's the problem. Most people think this feeling comes from stress. Work stress, life stress, money stress. And yes, those play a role. But if stress were the real cause, rest would fix it. A weekend off, a vacation, a day with nothing planned. Yet many people come back feeling the same, sometimes worse. So something else is happening here, something your brain has never dealt with before. We'll get to that. But first, look around you. Right now, your brain is swimming in signals, notifications, messages, videos playing in the background, music while working, a podcast while eating, another screen while half watching the first. None of it feels overwhelming on its own. That's why it's dangerous. Your brain doesn't register this as stress. It registers it as normal. But your nervous system doesn't forget. It keeps score. Every sound, every headline, every short clip that demands emotion, anger, curiosity, fear, amusement, tiny emotional spikes stacked on top of each other all day long. Your brain was never designed for this pace, but that's still not the full explanation. Here's the part most people don't realize. Your brain doesn't just process information, it needs empty space to organize it. Moments of boredom, wandering thoughts, silence without purpose. That's when meaning forms. That's when emotions settle. That's when you feel like yourself again. But we've slowly erased those moments. Not intentionally, just conveniently. Every time there's a gap, a line, a wait, a quiet evening, we fill it. And the brain never finishes processing the last thing before the next thing arrives. So nothing ever fully lands, and nothing ever fully leaves. At this point, most people think they understand what's happening. They think, okay, too much screen time, I get it. But this is where it usually goes wrong, because the issue isn't the amount of information, it's the way your mind is forced to stay alert without resolution. There's another layer most people ignore. When your brain is constantly stimulated but never allowed to finish a thought, something strange happens. You stop feeling deeply without realizing it. Joy feels muted. Sadness feels distant. You're not numb, just slightly disconnected. Decisions feel heavier than they should. Simple tasks feel oddly exhausting. And creativity drops, not because you lack ideas, but because your mind never rests long enough to connect them. This is why people say, I don't feel like myself anymore, but can't explain why. Nothing is wrong, yet everything feels off. Your brain isn't broken, it's overoccupied. Now here's the unsettling part. Your brain has adapted to this state, which means you might not even remember what clarity feels like anymore. But don't jump to conclusions yet, because adaptation doesn't mean damage. It means something else.
We'll come back to that.
Think about earlier generations for a moment. Not romantically, not nostalgically, just practically. Their minds had long stretches of low stimulation, walking, waiting, sitting, thinking without interruption. Those moments weren't productive, but they were regulating. Your brain learned how to settle itself. Today, we outsource that job to devices. When we're bored, scroll. When we're uneasy, play something. When we're alone, consume. So your brain never practices returning to baseline. It stays slightly activated all the time. That's what quiet overwhelm actually is. This doesn't mean technology is evil. It doesn't mean you need to disappear or move to the mountains. And it definitely doesn't mean you're failing. This is only one part of it, but it explains something important. Why rest doesn't feel restful anymore. Why silence feels loud. Why doing nothing feels uncomfortable, even when you desperately want peace. Your mind has forgotten how to arrive without being summoned by something else, and that's not your fault. So if your brain feels quietly overwhelmed, listen closely. It's not asking for motivation. It's not asking for discipline. It's asking for something far simpler and far harder in today's world. Space. Not forever, not dramatically, just enough to let thoughts finish. Enough to let emotions land. Enough to remember what mental stillness actually feels like. In the next video, we'll talk about why most people try to fix this the wrong way and how small changes can either help or make the overload worse. But for now, just notice the noise, not outside, inside. That awareness alone changes more than you think.